So let's talk regulations and should dog training be regulated. There's a pretty solid split down the dog training community of it should be regulated or it should not. Right now, across the board in the United States at least, there is no regulations on dog training, which means anybody could be a dog trainer. And yes, you as an owner should be wary about that because sometimes people don't know what they're doing and they're just doing it. So as the split goes, you have force-free trainers that are 100% yes, it should be regulated, while you have balanced trainers that don't want it regulated. So let me explain a little bit further. Force-free training is basically training where you only reward good behavior and you do nothing about poor or bad behavior. Let's say a dog is lunging. You don't correct that. You only give treats when they show good behavior. While balanced training uses a lot of different tools and methods, but it's where you give corrections to a dog for poor or bad or unwanted behavior, and then you give rewards, whether it's treats, a toy, pets, something that the dog sees as a reward for good behaviors. I'm a balanced trainer myself, but the problem across the board with balanced trainer is there's a lot of old school dog trainers that borderline go to abuse. I'm not against e-collars. I'm not against using prong collars. The problem is there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to properly use them. E-collars, especially with just the vibrate mode on an e-collar, can be a very useful tool when it comes to training, especially training highly reactive dogs. The prong collar as well can be a highly effective tool, especially with dogs with reactive issues. A lot of times these reactive dogs, they are never going to get over the reactivity issues with just treats and positive reinforcement alone. My take on it is if you look at the dog world, whether it be wild dogs or dogs in large play groups, dog parks, what you'll see time and time again is that dogs actually correct each other. You have a dog that mounts another dog. That dog that got mounted doesn't like it, and the dog that got mounted turns around and does a nip on the back of the neck. That dog has enough bite force that it could break that neck easily, but it doesn't. It just corrects the dog that mounted and says, look, that's not cool. I don't like that. And the other dog says, oh, I didn't realize that. Maybe I shouldn't do this again. Maybe I'll try it again, but then you'll get corrected again. And eventually the dog learns not to do that. That's natural correction within dog to dog. Dogs aren't humans, and that's the problem that I have with positive only reinforcement. It's not reality for the dogs. Dogs are not humans. You'll hear me say that in almost every single video because people are uneducated about that. Dogs are not humans, they're dogs. And they need to be treated differently than we would treat a toddler or treat other people. So no, I don't think positive reinforcements is the say-all, end-all. I think balanced is a really good option as long as you're not going abusive with the balanced training. You actually understand the dog behavior and you understand what works and what doesn't work for that individual dog, because every dog is different. Not all dogs are food motivated. So what's the next positive reinforcement you can do? Okay, pets. What if the dog is more, of a loner, more of an independent dog and doesn't care about pets? Okay, so food is out the window. We have, pets and praise is out the window. What next? If none of that works, then what do? You just give up on the dog? No, you find what does work. So as far as backtracking to the original topic of regulation, I don't think that it should be regulated. Not because I'm a balanced trainer, it's because dog training across the board is a pseudoscience. There's people that have opinions and other people that have other opinions, and no single opinion is correct. It's all politics. Some things work for some dogs, some things don't, and we have to take it like that. I prefer to do positive reinforcements as much as possible, as low stress training as possible. But sometimes that doesn't work, and I'm not going to force somebody to pay me thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars for years worth of training to get nowhere. I primarily focus on reactive dogs and behavioral challenges. And what I've found over time is that positive reinforcement only doesn't work for those dogs. We do have studies out there from a lot of different universities that claim that positive reinforcement training is the only training that actually shows results quicker. But yes, that shows results quicker when you're doing like obedience training for a puppy. Yes, of course that's going to show results. Is it going to show results for a highly aggressive dog that attacks everything that walks and breathes? No, it's not. And that's why you have a lot of these trainers out here that give up on all of your dogs, your rescue dogs specifically, and say, look, I can't train your dog. Your dog's going to be violent no matter what. Your dog is going to have to be put down. And you're going to hear that time and time again from a lot of trainers out there. All these certification classes and colleges and behavioral science classes, they all cater towards nothing but positive reinforcements. They don't really look at corrections, and that's an issue. If a dog goes and attacks somebody or another dog, that dog will be put down. That is a life and death situation or scenario that can be potentially fatal for that dog. How come if a child runs out in traffic and you yank that child back and throw him back into the ground, you're a hero? But we can't do that with a dog. Why can't we do that with a dog? It's now abusive because you corrected a dog from doing a behavior that could potentially kill the dog. It makes no sense. It is more humane to correct a behavior that will potentially end up being the death of the dog via being put down, being running out the door and getting hit by a car. Something can happen to that dog. So how come we're demonized for correcting the behavior as long as we're not abusing the dog? Point of training is to make sure that our loved ones, our family, our pet family, is as safe as possible in all situations. If your dog doesn't have recall and you're at a dog park and there's a fight that breaks out in the dog park and your dog decides to go and join and you can't recall, guess what happens? Your dog's going to get injured too, or worse. That's one of hundreds upon hundreds of situations that happen every single day due to the lack of training. And it's up to the pet owner to actually do your research before you go and hire a trainer. That's up to you as a pet parent to do with anything. You're not going to just take your dog to a vet without looking into them. Why are you going to put the safety of your dog into the hands of a trainer or a groomer or anybody else in the pet care industry, a pet sitter? If you are going to research on one aspect of your pet's care, you need to do the research on all aspects of your pet care. Another reason why I think that regulating, grooming and pet training, it should still be unregulated, is because it's setting up a system where there's only one right way to do things across the board. And that's not the case. Every pet is different. And it is great to have training. It's great for a groomer or a trainer to have some type of experience in training. You should reach out and go find some experienced professionals to help train you. That's great. But if you start regulating it, it is setting up this entire stage to where it's whoever has the financial stability to get into the profession are the only people to get into the profession. It doesn't mean that it's going to be better. The amount of professionals out there and across the board in any industry can be good or bad, regardless if it's regulated or not. The amount of doctors that get sued and hospitals that get sued for malpractice, that's highly regulated, yet it happens time and time and time again. Regulation doesn't mean you're going to have a better result. All it means is you're setting up the possibility that there's going to be a lot of people that could be amazing trainers and amazing groomers that don't have the financial capabilities of going in that route. And then if you're not doing your due diligence and looking into the people that are caring for your animal's safety, if you're wanting these people to take care of your animals and care for the animals and all things involved, you should do your due diligence and research. Forcing regulation on these people is not the solution to finding good trainers and good groomers and good pet sitters and good dog walkers. It's you doing your due diligence and researching the people that you want to provide care for your fur family.